Hello everyone, I hope you're doing alright. I love to filet crochet. In fact, I would say it is my favourite crochet technique. And you guys seem to really enjoy my videos on filet crochet, which got me thinking. There is a lot of good resources available on how to learn how to filet crochet. But I've been trying to learn some more advanced skills. There is not an awful lot of accessible resources on how to actually advance your filet crochet skills. I thought about creating quite a compact video on just a bunch of things you could do to level up your filet crochet. But instead of doing that, I thought, why not make it into a little bit of a series, just kind of going through individual things that you can start doing within filet crochet to advance what you're actually doing. For the first video, I wanted to keep it to something that's going to be quite a quick and easy thing to understand, which is how to increase and decrease within filet crochet. Obviously, filet crochet grids are normally in squares or rectangles, but once you learn how to increase or decrease, you can follow a filet crochet grid in any shape you would like. All you need to know how to do in this video is a simple filet crochet. I have a bunch of tutorials. I will link the relevant ones down below. We're going to be working with a double crochet chain 2, but obviously I'm going to give you guys enough information that if you wanted to modify this to a different type of filet crochet, then you can go ahead and do that. Grab your yarn, grab your hook, and we'll get straight into learning how to do increases and decreases within filet crochet. For today's video, we're covering 4 main techniques, which is how to increase at the start of the row, how to increase at the end of the row, and then how to decrease at the start of the row and decrease at the end of the row. Knowing these 4 things means that you can effectively do whatever you want. As for the materials that I'm going to use for this video, I've quickly sketched up a stitch fiddle graph, and as you can see, I've worked in black and white, and then these red bits are the stitches that I'm not going to include. I'm going to be using a 1.25mm hook and this green mercerised cotton, which is from Yeoman yarns. I'm not sponsored by them. This is just my favourite yarn to use for filet crochet, and I never find factory knots in these, which is always a bonus. Let's get straight into learning how to do those increases. Let me just do my first row as usual. As you can see, I've represented these first 12 boxes by these 12 mesh boxes, and that represents just row 1. If we look at how many boxes are added from row 1 to row 2, you can see that we add 3 boxes at the start of our row and those 3 boxes at the end of our row. What we're doing here is we're just adding a chain length before we then do our turning chain, so we can then work in the extra boxes we need at the start of this row. We need to add a total of 3 boxes. Each one of these boxes is represented by 3 stitches, which in this case would be 2 chains and a double crochet. First, I need to add 9 stitches. These stitches will represent all of the extra stitches added in order to add the stitches needed to represent these 3 extra boxes. So it will be chain, chain, double crochet, chain, chain, double crochet, chain, chain, double crochet. All we need to do is we need to add the amount of chains we would do for a turning chain before we then turn our work and work down our row. I always do a turning chain of 4, so let me add 4. Then start my row like I would starting my row on a turning chain anyways, which is to skip 7 stitches, which are these stitches, and work my double crochet into that 8th stitch here. The only thing that's kind of tricky about this is instead of what I'm used to, which is working into this back bump, you actually work above the front and the back loop. This is just me being picky though. You can actually kind of do whatever you want to. Then I can chain 2, do that double crochet, then I can chain 2, skip 2, and it should work out that you put your double crochet on top of that last double crochet. The way you can think about it is you get the amount of mesh boxes you have, you then times that by 3 and then add 4. or the amount of chains that you do to start your row when doing a turning chain. Let me work down to the other side and we'll talk about how we add on stitches at the end of the row. I'm ready to show you guys how to add boxes at the end of your row. Obviously, what we'd normally do is we would chain 2 and do a double crochet, but obviously we actually don't have anything to do a double crochet into. We're going to kind of set ourselves up with some chain stitches by working an extra long stitch into this point right here. I'm going to yarn over 3 more times. 1, 2, 3. This will allow us to set up almost kind of like a fake chain length. I'm going to find the last stitch that has been worked into, which is just above my thumb, and then put my hook in there and pull up a loop. I'm then going to yarn over and pull through 2 3 times. So yarn over, pull through 2 once, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now these 3 yarn over pull through 2s are going to act as our chain stitches. I want you to keep in mind what this stitch just above my thumb looks like though, because we're going to be working into this space next. As you can see, I have 3 loops on my hook, so I'm ready to yarn over and pull through twice to kind of get that double crochet. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That is how you add 1 box. But remember, I need to add 3. So let's show you guys how to do that again. We're going to chain 2, yarn over a total of 4 times. And earlier, remember, I told you to remember what this space looks like. So it's kind of the yarn over underneath what looks like a double crochet. You're just going to enter your hook and I go underneath these 2 loops here, but just do whatever feels natural before you then pull up a loop and then yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Those are the 3 kind of fake chains. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That's kind of setting up our double crochet. I need to do this 1 more time and then I've added those 3 mesh boxes. Whilst doing my research, there are actually a few different ways of increasing these boxes. I do think this one is the neatest, but kind of the other way that you would do it is you would almost work your stitches on top of each other like this. I would probably maybe chain 4. I would then work in a double crochet before I then chained 4 and did a double crochet like that. I just don't really like the way that this looks, but maybe it's something for you guys to have a little play around with. I don't really see the need to keep on going through this. This isn't a hard thing to do skill-wise. It's just kind of a concept that takes a little bit of time to get used to. I'm gonna go off camera now and build this up to the point that I can show you how to decrease. Just because, as I say, I don't want to make this too repetitive. Hopefully, how to increase either side makes sense. Now we can move on to how to do decreases each side. I have skipped ahead to row 19, so I can show you how to decrease, which to be honest is so much easier to understand than increasing. I am on row 19, and for row 19 to go up to row 20, as you can kind of see, I'm decreasing by 2 boxes each side. At the start of the row, what you're going to do is, I personally go into the back loop, but you can go into any point into the stitch, and just slip stitch. Just 1 slip stitch into each stitch. As I'm decreasing this row by 2 boxes, I have slip stitched up until the double crochet before I start my 3rd box. So I've done a total of 6 slip stitches before I then do my 7th one. The amount of slip stitches you do is going to be 3 times the amount of the boxes that you're skipping plus 1. Now I can start my row as usual with the chain 4 as a turning chain up until I reach the end of this row. I have just done my final stitch. You guys have probably guessed by now, you just leave the final 2 stitches blank. Really, the only thing that you need to do to decrease is at the start of the row. You then just kind of go square by square up until you reach that final square, and then you can just turn your row and continue. I hope you guys found this tutorial helpful. If you did, make sure that you are subscribed because, as I say, I'm gonna have more content like this coming your way. When it comes to this filet crochet series, there are a few things that I'm thinking about teaching you guys. I definitely want to teach you guys how to do a reverse filet crochet where the majority are filled boxes. Also, a lot of you guys have asked me how to start a row of filet crochet where the first box that you've reached is a filled box. Then there are some like alternate stitches that are used within filet crochet that we can talk a little bit about. But on top of that, if you guys have anything in particular you want to learn, go ahead and put that in the comments below. But other than that, make sure you check out my Etsy and Ravelry where I sell my written patterns. I do have quite a few pixel grids, so if you guys are looking for a pattern to filet crochet, you can definitely have a look there. Go ahead and check out my social media as well. All of that will be linked down below. You guys go ahead and have a good rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.